I'm on my yoga ball. Welcome back. It has been a while, and part of that is intentional and part of it is unintentional. When the new year started off, I was desperate to kind of recharge and reassess and kind of back up and reevaluate directions and pathways and motivations and desires. So I took some time to do that, and honestly, I fell into a reading slump at the beginning of the year. So, sorry, I'm the yoga ball. I'm rolling all over the place. But my reading has definitely kind of like tipped off a little bit, and so has my YouTube like video postings and stuff. But I'm coming at you from a new camera that I got myself at the new year. I had been saving up for it, so I was like, let's just do it. It's an investment. And also I want to dabble into photography. That was kind of part of that reevaluation. I was like pinpointing things that are important to me and things I want to pursue, and this was one of them. So I invested in a really good camera. So hopefully the quality of the videos will go up, but who knows. So I wanted to make this video to just kind of recommit myself back to the channel and back to the act of reading and reviewing books and recommending books and, you know, all the things. But I also, as part of that reevaluation, I want to shift the focus of the channel to not just be about books, you know. I love books and I still want to read and review books and make this a book channel, but I also want to get into more of like daily vlogs and kind of documenting my life and things that are important to me. I don't know, I think that's one of the unintended consequences of YouTube, is it became kind of like this visual scrapbook for everybody. And so, you know, you could post content for entertainment or for monetary gain or, you know, for the brand deals. But I don't know, I kind of like the idea of making content and documenting important adventures and milestones and memories that I want to preserve, and having YouTube as like the scrapbook to kind of go back and revisit those in the future whenever I want to. So that's kind of my focus for the future of this channel. I want to continue making books and like book hauls, reviews, you know, reading vlogs, stuff like that, challenges, but also kind of shift over into like daily vlogs. Like if I want to go on a hike one day, I want to make a video about that. I want to feel like I can post that on this channel, you know? At some point, I want to, yes, I'm going to. At some point, I want to make and post a coming out story about myself and kind of share that with the world. I think I'm ready. It's been 10 years now, and I think I'm ready to kind of share my experience, and hopefully it'll help, you know, if it helps one person, then it's a success in my mind, you know, it's worth it. So I do want to start diving into that, you know. If I want to, it's a rainy day today, you know, the day after Valentine's Day. If I want to paint a portrait or just paint, you know, I'm not a painter, I'm not good, I'm not trained, but it, you know, it does something for my soul. It recharges and energizes me. So if I want to do that and make a vlog about painting, or, you know, collaging my photographs, or, you know, cleaning my room, I want to feel as though I can do that, and, you know, no one's expectations are going to be broken, and no one's going to be disappointed, and no one's going to say, oh, well, you know, can you review the latest bestseller list? You know, I still want to do that, and I still want to build community and, you know, form book clubs and encourage people to read, and that's fantastic. I just want everyone to love books as much as I do. But I also, like, sometimes I just want to go to the lake and take some really cool 4K footage and share it with you all. So that's the new kind of scope of the channel. You know, I thought about it and I was like, I feel like I'm limiting the content I want to create when I call this a booktube channel. So it'll be some books, it may be mostly books, it may be all books for a while, and that's okay, but I still want to feel free to do what I want, you know. If I want to make a video about ducks, then I'm going to do that, you know. So I know that's not really probably good branding for this channel, but I don't really care about success or followers or monetizing or brand deals, you know, under. But I just, you know, for me, my motivation behind this channel is to document things that are important to me. And if people want to subscribe to that and get a sense of entertainment out of that, or if it helps to build a sense of community, then that's great. You know, that's another unintended consequence of YouTube. But my goal is purely selfish. You know, I want to, it's like people keep scrapbooks and photo albums of their life that they've documented through two-dimensional snapshots throughout time. YouTube is going to be my visual scrapbook of exact moments and exact memories and exact instances that I want to preserve forever. So that's going to be my motivation. So I just wanted to share that before we kind of get into the books that I'm currently in the middle of and need to finish really quick, and some of the books that I want to read before the end of February. Okay, now on to the books that I am currently reading and need to wrap up so I can get on to other things. It is February. It is Black History Month, so I'm trying to obviously read and support more Black authors, Black stories, Black perspectives. So that is a lot of the TBR that I've compiled for the rest of the month of February. For the 13 days that we have left, it's super ambitious, but I feel like I always do that. But a lot of these works that I've selected are super short, so I can finish multiple of them in a day, you know, so I'm not too worried. But the first thing I wanted to share with you all is a new read for me. I got this for Christmas from my boyfriend, and it is Stamped by Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. This is, I've been listening to the audiobook, but the thing happened where time got away from me and the audiobook ran out before I could finish, so I have the last little bit. The audiobook was so good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's narrated by my man, Jason Reynolds. Easily my favorite author of all time. Like, I'm on a mission to buy everything that Jason Reynolds has put his hands on, which, by the way, Jason Reynolds is going to make another appearance in this TBR. I can't wait to talk about it. But anyway, Stamped. It is about the Black experience throughout American history, and Jason, in the audiobook, goes through great lengths to kind of push against the idea that this is a history book. And he says it multiple times. He says, you know, this is not a history book. This is not a history book. It is about American history and, you know, the effects of slavery and racism and all those things. But it's told in a way where you are not, like, snoozing. You are not bored. I mean, I just could not stop listening to this book. I mean, I get excited about reading sometimes, but, like, I would listen to this, and usually for some people, history or things that aren't super fresh and relevant are like super boring to them. I could not stop listening to this. It was so good. Like, once I started it, I had to know more. And it's, I don't know, Jason Reynolds, his writing style is just incredible. So it is historical, it is factual, like this is a nonfiction work, but it's told in a way that's gonna hook you. It's gonna maintain your interest and, you know, keep you engaged. But I just 10 out of 10 would recommend. I'm gonna finish the last 40 pages just, you know, visually reading them without the audiobook because my hold ran up. But 10 out of 10 would recommend. Like, I've got my annotations here of like important passages, important figures in history, and important observations that they made throughout history, and I just love this book. The next book that I'm in the middle of is The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic. I am currently in a love-hate relationship with this book. I'm super intrigued. It is about, the main character's name is Neil, and he is the son of a crime lord called the Butcher, and there's this fictional sport called Exy. He gets recruited and kind of scholarshiped onto this professional college team for Exy. He's kind of like a natural at the sport. And on the team, it's a team of like misfits and delinquents, and on the team are other kids who kind of intermingle with Neil's father's crime history past, and so he could risk being exposed. He's kind of in hiding. It's a really, I don't know if it's dark, it's graphic at some points, like horrific abuse that the main character has endured. And, you know, a lot of these kids are just super, super damaged, and, you know, it's a hostile environment, and, you know, it's really an ensemble cast, and so you're interested to learn about all of them and how they interact, and it's a very interesting dynamic. I just, you know, for some reason put this down for a minute and didn't pick it back up for a little while. I think it's been like a week since I've finished it, or since I stopped reading it. I have not finished it. It's the first in a trilogy. Got the whole trilogy. I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna finish this and then I'll get to the trilogy, like the second one, sometime later. I need some time. The next book that I am currently reading is The Wave by Todd Strasser. So I'm only about 2 chapters into this, but this is another nonfiction. It's based on a true story. It was a high school experiment that was performed in California in 1969. And the history professor that did it was trying to convey to his students like how the Nazis could have followed Hitler and how the horrific events of World War II kind of unfolded and stuff. So he creates this group called The Wave, and they kind of have similar, I believe, tactics and beliefs and kind of mantras that kind of reflect the Nazi party. And, you know, this experiment, this class experiment went horribly, horribly wrong, and it's kind of famous, and it did actually happen. The wave kind of gets out of control, and things start to go downhill, and it kind of breaches out of the classroom and infects the whole school. This kind of philosophy of, I don't know, superiority, which was prevalent in the Nazi party, obviously. I found this at the used bookstore. It was literally $1.75. But the concept sounded so cool to me, and the fact that it was a true story, like, I want to read more about it. So far I haven't gotten into any of the drama, or, you know, it's just introduction of the main characters and kind of their school life, and so I don't know much about this other than the synopsis I just told you about, but it's super short, and I'm excited to see how this plays out. Now I just want to quickly go through some of the books that I want to try to get through in the last 2 weeks of February. If I get to them, awesome. If not, also no pressure. That's another direction that I want to take into the channel, is not feeling disappointed in myself, because everyone always makes super ambitious TBRs, and who cares if you don't get to them? I'm not worried about it. So I'm just going to quickly run through them. I may give a sentence or two about the books, but that's going to be it. Obviously, if I haven't read them yet, I don't know everything about them. So, you know, I have an idea of what they're about, but don't be expecting a long synopsis. It's not going to happen. And these are in no particular order. I'm just grabbing them and we're talking about them. Is Dear Evan Hansen by Stephen Levinson. This is the play, not the kind of novelized version that you'll find in the YA section of Barnes & Noble or wherever you shop. This is the play version. So I've got a few plays in this TBR actually, but this is short. And so to kind of combat my reading slump that I experienced over the new year, I want to pick up some super short, quick reads to kind of reignite the fire to read constantly and form the new habit again. And I feel like if I started with a 1,000 page epic fantasy, I would just stay in my slump. So I want to read things that are finishable for me. So that's going to be short. And I think it's about someone who passes away, and our main character, Evan Hansen, pretends that he was friends with the person who died, the young man who died, and it kind of launches him into popularity and fame. But he's lying. He didn't really know this person that died, so I believe that's how it goes. It's a musical also. It's very, very sad. I know one song from the musical, and it's called So Big, So Small, and I think it's sung by the mother of the young man who died. That song like regularly crushes me. It's just beautiful. I play it all the time. So I'm going to read that. The next book that I want to try to get to in the month of February is The Rock and the River by Kekla Lagoon. This is about a young man named Sam, whose father is a civil rights activist who believes in kind of like the MLK peaceful approach to protest. And Sam also has an older brother who is becoming more and more interested in the Black Panther movement, you know, who are known for kind of being notoriously violent about their civil rights approach. And I think the story is about Sam being conflicted about whether or not he needs to follow in his father's footsteps to take the non-violent approach to civil rights, or if he wants to kind of explore the option that his brother is exploring with the Panthers and kind of, you know, wrestling through the idea of maybe violence is the way to get this message across. So that's all I know about this book. It's super short. Can't wait to read it. The next thing I want to read is a play, and it is Ruined by Lynn Nottage, and it won the Pulitzer Prize. This is about a group of women who are living in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and you know it's during a really rough kind of civil war period in the Congo, and the women are kind of the collateral damage in that between the rebels and I think the government forces, and I believe it's about like horrific sexual violence that happens to these women. I don't know much about it. But I've been wanting to pick this up for a while, and I recently found a super cheap used copy. Like this was $2. So, and it's in great condition. Super thin. It's a play. I'm really good about burning through plays, and I enjoy reading plays. I like the format of plays, you know. It's very concise, and it just gets to the dialogue, and there's brief descriptions of the setting and everything, but it's really about the story is told through dialogue. So that's what I love about it. But I want to read this. I think it's super important. Again, this is nonfiction. She went to the Congo and conducted interviews, and there's even photos in the back of the women that she interviewed and stuff. So there is a sense of, you know, realism to this, and I want to read it. I think it's important, not only in the month of February, you know, because it is a part of Black history. Even though it happened in Africa, it's relevant. I don't know. I just want to read it. Next, we have The Shaw by Cynthia Ozek. I feel like every high schooler read the short story The Shaw in high school, but this is two short stories. It's The Shaw, and then it's like a follow-up that happens 30 years later of the mother who had the Shaw. I remember when I read The Shaw in high school just being shook to my core. Like I did not expect that. I did not see that coming, and it just wrecked me. And you know, I remember the basic idea of what happened, but I remember the writing being so visceral that I was just generally affected by what happened. So I saw a cheap copy of this at my local used bookstore, and I picked it up. And I want to reread not only the short story The Shaw, but also the follow-up story. I have not read that, so I'm super interested to see where that goes. The next book I picked up is a book of poetry, and I actually picked this up today. It is I Am the Rage by Dr. Martina McGowan. She is a gynecologist and a political social activist, and it's a collection of poems, and I kind of skimmed through it at the store, and I just, like, I think I read the first poem or two, and I was like, there's no way I'm not getting this. It's not used. I bought it brand new, and I was happy to do so. This poetry just moved me instantly. I was in the aisle at the store, and I was flipping through it, and I was like relevant. It's about the Black experience in America, and like I cannot wait to read this. I almost read the whole thing in the store. Like I would have stood there if it would have been socially acceptable. Like this is just some damn good poetry. That's all there is to it. So I cannot wait to read this. I will probably read this in the next 24 hours. The next book is called Death Coming Up the Hill by Chris Crow. This is the story about a young man in, oh gosh, the 1960s, I believe. Yes, 1968. And his mother is like very kind of liberal and, you know, kind of got a hippie mentality, and his father is very racist and kind of a bigot. And this is all, you know, behind the background of the Vietnam War. And so it's about how this young man is kind of, you know, experiencing the Vietnam War. It's from his perspective, and it's told in haiku form, so it's another quick read, like super short. Can you even see that? Poetry and haikus and stuff. But he has this history teacher that's really trying to illustrate the atrocities that are happening in Vietnam. And so each chapter begins with his history teacher updating the chalkboard of the updated death count that's happening in Vietnam. And during his, education and kind of Americanized high school experience of the Vietnam War, there's also this division that's happening between his super liberal mother and his super bigoted father. So I'm excited to see how the family drama kind of overlaps with what's happening in Vietnam. The next book I would like to get to is Sold by Patricia McCormick. This is about a young girl, Lakshmi, whose family, a tsunami hits their homeland and their way of life is kind of wiped out. And so her father says, you have to get a job. And he kind of sends her off to this place, but she comes to find out that he has actually sold her into prostitution. And so it's about her trying to survive this really brutal brothel life, and her dealing with the fact that she is a child prostitute. So this is super popular. It was National Book Award finalist. I'm a sucker for a medal on a cover. But yeah, I'm going to read this. Next, I want to read Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This would be my first James Baldwin. I feel like this is the one they recommend. This is the one they go to. It's set in 1950s Paris, and this man is in this love triangle with a man and a woman. And for the times, 1950s, this was a very radical, progressive story to tell. Any kind of mainstream gay romance at all was kind of a no-go. So I want to read that, but also I want to support James Baldwin. And yeah, this is like when I go on social media and I ask for recommendations, so many people recommended this to me, so it's time to read it. The next one is Punching the Air by Ibi Zoboi and Yusuf Salaam. Ibi Zoboi is the author. Yusuf Salaam is a criminal. He's not a criminal. I shouldn't have stopped on that word. A criminal justice activist. That's what he is. Sorry, it took me a minute to get those words out. This is our main character, and oh gosh, what's his name? I forgot it. Amal. Amal is in a very diverse art school, but even in that diverse art school, he is considered kind of a delinquent and a troublemaker, and just kind of not up to par with the standards of the school. And then through a series of unfortunate events, he gets blamed and punished and jailed for a crime that he did not commit. And so while he's in jail, he comes to rely upon his love of art and his love of poetry that he writes and stuff like that. And that is all I know about this book. The next one is my man, Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down. And I've already read Long Way Down, and I just kind of skimmed through it when I was at the bookstore, and I was like, I have to have this. First of all, Long Way Down is one of the greatest stories I've ever read, and you all need to read it. Second of all, Jason Reynolds is one of my favorite artists of all time, and I don't care what you read of his, just pick up something with Jason Reynolds' name on it. But I feel like experiencing this through the graphic novel version. Obviously, Jason had a say and kind of provided feedback on the art that was into this, so I feel like this is a direct visual representation of what he meant for his work to be. So I'm so excited to read this. Like, I can't wait. First, I love graphic novels, but this story is just so incredible, and the first time I read it, it was just like, pow! Like, it just got me. So having a visual aid to go along with Jason's incredible words, like, I cannot wait. And finally, the last thing I want to reread is Sunsets in Harlem by my friend Reginald Stowe. This is a collection of incredible poetry. It's kind of all over the spectrum about what it contains, and Reggie is a dear friend of mine. I love him so much, and I encourage you all to buy this book or get your hands on a copy of it. He is an incredible poet, just like talent out the wazoo. Like, he can write. And, you know, I want to do that not only to support my friend and, you know, my friend who's a black artist, but it's just like objectively good. And there's illustrations in here. Like, I love this book. And I just want to keep rereading it so I can just kind of ingest and internalize these beautiful words that I could never come up with. So, Reggie, thank you for your gift. I'm going to read this again. I love it so much. So that is all. Expect way more content from me. And the content's going to be all over the place, you know, and that's okay because I'm all over the place. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share and like and comment, but also if you don't, that's okay. First and foremost, this is for me, and secondly, it's for all of you. You know, I want to build community with you. I want you to recommend books. I want to recommend books. I want you to share experiences you've had. I want to share my experiences that I've had. So, you know, show some love to the channel if you want, but don't feel pressure to. This is all for me.